Grand Canyon National Park's Bright Angel Trail is a 10-mile trail from rim to river that spans multiple ecosystems and rock layers. It begins at the canyon's south rim and descends 1 mile vertically between the trailhead and the river, most of which occurs during the switchbacks before Indian Garden.
Right, we are out on the Bright Angel Trail in the Grand Canyon, recording some 360 video. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Doing all right.
Filming the whole
So as we get further into the canyon, we can see the types of environment changing a little bit. Right now we're getting closer and closer to the desert. We've got the red soil, the clay, and some more desert plants. How's it going? So as we get on the edge here, we can see, we're a little closer to the campsite. We've still got lots of switchbacks to do, a lot of elevation to lose, but we're getting closer.
According to the National Park Service, the squirrels found in the canyon are one of the most frequent causes for injury to hikers on the trail. As you can see, the squirrels are extremely tame, which can be a problem. Because they have gotten used to heavy foot traffic and handouts from visitors, which are illegal, they are much more comfortable approaching hikers to beg for or steal food. Feeding wild animals such as these squirrels can easily result in getting bit, which is how these small creatures end up causing so many injuries. This is why, when the squirrels move past the camera and towards us, we keep our distance and use a trekking pole to shoo them away from our packs and our food. When visiting national parks like the Grand Canyon, it is important to refrain from feeding the animals and to keep a safe distance. These practices are for visitor safety as well as that of the animal.
They must get snacks when you have them up here. Don't jump down. That's too much.
Yep.
That's too
Yep.
much. Poke her back a little. Oh, another one's coming.
While the Grand Canyon National Park saw over 6 million visitors in 2017, only about 15,000 of those spent at least one night at a backcountry campground inside the canyon. The experience of venturing down below the rim is daunting, but highly rewarding. Shortly after setting off from the trailhead, you become completely lost in the sense of scale between the desert plateau below and the canyon rim above. Being inside the canyon feels more like being in a mountain range than in a canyon. At some points, the north and south rims are 30 miles apart, and the outer canyon walls are often completely hidden from view by interior canyon walls. In other areas, such as Plateau Point, hikers can see the Colorado River and both canyon rims at once. This is also a great area for spotting wildlife such as pink rattlesnakes, bark scorpions, and occasionally even a rare California condor. An important part of every hike is safety. In a place as extreme as the Grand Canyon, this includes taking frequent breaks and staying hydrated along the trail. However, being prepared for a hike includes much more than this. It is critical to do research and be well informed before any hike, especially when camping in the backcountry. As an example, our entire plan for the trek changed the morning we began due to recommendations from the backcountry office based on current conditions. It is also recommended to take an extra day's worth of food and water, as well as first aid gear, to be ready for the worst case scenario. Many hikers have died in the Grand Canyon and other remote areas while attempting rigorous treks without proper supplies, preparation, or knowledge. Entering the inner canyon, one immediately notices the steep canyon walls rising nearly 1,000 feet straight up from the river. This rocky terrain, along with the lack of vegetation, traps heat from the sun and allows this part of the canyon to reach extreme temperatures. On this day, temperatures reached nearly 120 degrees Fahrenheit along the river.
Wow.
During the scorching midday heat, hikers in the lower canyon were advised by rangers to stop moving and find a place to cool off.
I wonder if that's how rangers get things in and out of this location.
The trek to the bottom of the canyon is well worth the effort. After a long hike through the desert with little shade, the site of Phantom Ranch and the Bright Angel Campground is a welcome one that means good food, cool water, and well-earned rest are not far off. Hikers coming down on both the South Kaibab and Bright Angel trails end their journey by crossing one of two suspension bridges across the Colorado River. The cool waters below may look tempting to swim in, but the current is strong enough to sweep people away. Park rangers were careful to emphasize that despite the extreme heat, cooling off in the Colorado River could be deadly to those who ventured into the current. Once across the river, campers can set up tents and enjoy the shade of the cottonwood trees found around Bright Angel Creek. During the summer months, visitors to the campground are highly encouraged to avoid the scorching heat of the midday sun by resting in the creek. Past the campground is Phantom Ranch, a privately owned area with mule stables, small cabins for visitors, and a cantina serving drinks to visitors, as well as meals to those who reserve them well in advance. Beyond Phantom Ranch, the North Kaibab Trail winds 14 miles from the river to the North Rim, covering approximately an extra 1,000 feet vertically than either trail to the South Rim. It is both the longest and least traveled of the three main backcountry trails in the park. According to the National Park Service, the North Kaibab Trail passes through every ecosystem found between Canada and Mexico. Along the North Kaibab Trail, hikers can opt to hike to Roaring Spring, the source of Bright Angel Creek and all drinking water on the canyon's south rim. The water is brought across the canyon by the pipes you see below the bridge we are crossing now. Our hike ends across the bridge, but we hope to return again to complete the full rim-to-rim through hike to see even more of the pristine wilderness of this wonder of the natural world.